Hello and welcome to Tech24. I'm Annelise Borges. Coming up, after an anti-Islam video sparks outrage in the Muslim world, YouTube finds itself under pressure to remove the content from its servers. We'll discuss how YouTube works and if it should be held responsible for the video it streams. And Mark Edwards got his hands on the iPhone 5 and will show us the latest features and flaws of Apple's new release. But first, an anti-Islam video uploaded to YouTube has sparked protests across parts of the Middle East, Africa and Asia. At least 28 people have died. As a result, YouTube is coming under pressure for keeping the video online despite the violence it has caused. Google, which owns YouTube, has blocked access to the clip in Libya, Egypt, Indonesia and Saudi Arabia. But it has rejected a request from the White House to remove the film from its servers, saying there's nothing about the video that violates the company's guidelines. Other countries have asked YouTube to remove the video, and the Pakistani government went so far as to take YouTube offline. Mark Edwards is with me in the studio. Mark, internet connects the world and social media gives a voice to anyone who's got something to say. But what works in one culture doesn't necessarily work in another. And to further complicate things, different countries have different laws. Is it realistic to think that any company, even the one the size of Google, can navigate these rough waters?
I think it's tough for them. I mean, Google are clearly trying to do as much as they can to get themselves out of the choppy waters that you're talking about. You know, they're removing video when it violates local law, which is fine. You know, but can you really police cultural aspects and religious, and certainly in this case, religious aspects? And we've got Rachel Wheatstone, who is the Google's Director of Global Communications and Public Affairs for Europe, Middle East and Africa. And she says, you know, we try taking into account local cultures and needs, which vary dramatically around the world when developing and implementing our global product policies. But dealing with controversial content is one of the biggest challenges we face as a company. And I like that you talk about the Pakistani government, for instance, and they've actually taken it into their own hands and just blocked YouTube as a whole. But that's nothing new. That's happened already in China a few years back in 2010, if I remember rightly, where suddenly they don't want the control of information, the dissemination of information, and they're just right now cutting it out. But as I said, Google trying very, very hard to do what they can, but strong. I think YouTube have been very strong, and Google, the parent company, have been very strong to turn down the requests from the White House because, yes, you have your policies and you have your ethos as a company, and when it doesn't violate anything, despite the video being appalling and very moronic, they are sticking to their guns, and that's can only be commended in some ways.
Let's talk a bit about how YouTube works. Is there anyone controlling the videos that are being uploaded? We're talking about 72 hours of video uploaded every minute. It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, we can both agree that is a lot of airtime. I mean, I got a stat from last year where over 1 trillion views of these videos. Now that's 140 views per person on this planet. That's one video a day for about 4 months, just over four and a half months. So every person, how do you police that? How do you genuinely get enough manpower? And ultimately, that's probably the only thing they can do is get more people in whose only job it is to keep an eye on what is being uploaded. And what about the content owner? Because you mentioned something that is important there. According to YouTube, the service is not the owner of the content and therefore should not be held responsible for these videos. If that's true, then who is responsible?
Well, ultimately, you have to take some responsibility as an individual uploading to YouTube. But the fact is that, it's a self-policing community where you flag something up, it will be removed. But then it's also a platform for free expression. And one of their, the main ethos is they want to leave as much content online as possible. And so in many ways, as a content owner, personally, got to watch out what you're doing. But it should be a bit of give and take, I think, from both sides. Very briefly, what's the solution for cases like that? Should regulations, for example, be imposed? And who should impose these regulations? Well, there's a big fight these days with, we've got ICANN and ITU, just part of sort of NATO, and they're going to be meeting very soon in Dubai. And should it be up to those guys even to be having anything to do with this? Or ultimately, as we've said, Google, just more workforce, bigger workforce, more people, and do what they can about trying to get as many people as possible working on simply policing the content.
Thanks for that, Mark. Don't go away. Test 24 is next. Apple released the latest version of the iPhone. The much anticipated iPhone 5 delivers on most expectations. It's Apple's thinnest and lightest phone yet. It's quicker than its predecessors, and it's got a larger screen and a better camera. But the big surprise is, it's a device lacking in big surprises. Mark, you've got your new iPhone. Has it changed your life?
Disappointingly, I don't think it has changed my life quite yet. Now, this is a phone I've been looking forward to, counting down the days until last Friday, just to get my hands on one so I could have a look. And yes, as you said, faster, thinner, better battery, camera differences, and some different apps, but really hasn't really changed my life in any way. Although there are a couple of cool things which I will show you. If we just have a quick look here. We've got a panoramic photo, which I took earlier on, and that's actually very intuitive and done very simply. And we've also got now a slightly cooler and different. Oh, I'm getting some phone calls at the same time. I probably shouldn't have left that on. Yes, but we're having a good, the black sheep in the middle of it.
Google Maps.
Against?
The lack of Google Maps, Apple's map, yeah. Because iOS 6 ditched Google Maps in favor of Apple's new application, but it doesn't really seem to work. Customers are very unhappy. There's cities missing, entire towns missing, and misplaced as well. It's,
to be honest, and we do a lot of this in Tech 24, we are purely honest, and the trouble is, it's just, they shouldn't have released it. It wasn't ready. And they've certainly done it we can see why. They want everybody to be using their own application, but it does have a couple of cool features where, you know, the 3D of the Taj Mahal there, very nice, and it will work very nicely for cities like New York and London. And if we just have
it's not all that different from the 4.
Exactly. Have a quick look. It's not revolutionary. It's not revolutionary to that extent. They look very similar. I'm not really sure you can tell which one is a difference from the far. But the thing that really has bugged me and annoyed me a lot has been the change of the charger. If you have a quick look at the charger here, it's completely different now. For all of you with the iPod docks and you know, your speakers and all the other things that are used, where we all used to just swap with the iPhones and the iPads, not going to happen. But it makes business sense. Ultimately, retails relatively expensively at €649 for just the 16 gigabytes. But, you know, everyone wants the newest iPhone, and I'm sure it will still manage to ship a lot of copies.
All right. Thanks for that, Mark. And thank you for watching this edition of Tech 24. Don't forget you can give us your feedback on the show via Facebook or on Twitter at TechF24. And we leave you with images from Japan's largest game exhibition. The Tokyo Game Show featured more than 1,000 new titles and devices. The one that caught our attention was BrainKiss, an app for iOS that tests the compatibility of two people by analyzing their brainwaves. All you need to do is put on a special brainwave reading headset and stare deep into the eyes of the person in front of you. Brainwave then presents you with the results divided into 5 different levels of affection. Sounds fun, but be careful who you use it with. Love may be staring you right in the face. I'll see you next week.